Hello everyone and welcome to another Steel Division video, and this time it's a special one because I played in a tournament again. And it is the Steel Division monthly tournament in May. It's a Swiss style format, so we will see more of these for sure for the foreseeable future. As they are played in a best of 2 format. It's a non-eliminatory format, so there's at least 9 more games to come after this one. So, yeah, this was my first one against a pretty strong opponent, Homer. It is his first tournament though, but he is ranked 28th on the ladder with a really solid win rate of like 70%. So, pretty same on my to my level in win rate on the ranked ladder. And overall, a respected guy in the Steel Vision community. And it was an interesting pick and ban phase. We ended up on this map. The map system is that you get 4 random maps and you ban till only 1 is left. And he had the last bans and he put Tali and Hantala over Sidlice, which I kinda hated him for. So we ended up on this map where I thought, okay, this is a grindy map. You have long distances. You have one side that is a bit stronger than the other side. I'm on the left side here in red. But I wanted an allied division as I picked allied with long ranges. And he banned 26, he banned 8th Envian, he banned 44th, he banned Tasos 45, so I ended up with my 358th. But I picked them first. And he picked 28th, which has good air spam. And as you can see here at the start, he brings in an off map. 28th I maybe should have banned, but it didn't strike me as super long range, so I rather banned something like 26th and 21st Panzer instead of 28th Jaeger. And yeah, he started here with an off map, which really felt painful when I first saw it. I was like, what is that kind of plane? Does he already fuckable wolf bomb me? Then I realized, no, way too slow. And when I first saw it, it was like, oh no. Me on my end, though, I go for some cheese myself. As you can see, PTRS is getting into annoying positions here already. PTRS trying to do the same in the south. Over here, snipers as well. PTRS in the front. But the off map here is really crucial because you have... Once you lose this town and this position up here, the enemy can really easily cut you off this road. From over here, from some positions over here that help out also to get you reinforcements. So getting pushed out of this town is pretty painful here at the beginning. We are both Maverick. He picked income first, so I counterpicked Maverick here. As I didn't want to have it this super grindy game, so I wanted to go Maverick versus Maverick. And the reason I picked 358 is for the ISUs and Krupa Tsaristiki. And a solid air tap. And overall the division I really enjoy at the moment, because the infantry, the Krupa Tsaristiki, their Vigivot PTR with the double Lati and the TNT, all are some of my favorite infantry units currently. So this off map really did hurt me. At least he got hit himself a bit here. But the start in the center was painful, so I knew I would have to be the defensive player here for the foreseeable future and try to hurt him as badly as I can with my PTRS. Luckily, nothing here to spot me in the north. My first PTRS got out here. The plan was to move this through the forest up here. Over time, the other one went for more risky but also faster route to get up here and then set itself in this forest, whilst the other two went in down here to try to get behind enemy lines and hit the reinforcement roads over here. So engagement over here went somewhat well, but as you can see, first Fokker Wolves already came in, and here comes the off-map plane again, and that would be painful. Another thing I knew was that my artillery would be better than his, so that might be a way to victory. Especially as I would need artillery to dislodge this position, as I don't have the tanks to really do that. I don't have Su-152s or anything like it. And my infantry also doesn't have the long-range capabilities to really do anything about it. T-60s were for the forest over here to help out infantry in there. My only AA is one card of 25mm, but it's 25mm at least are pretty decent. And I called in a Yak 7 to deal with the off-map recon plane. But he called in a Fokker Wolf, and I forgot about my Yak 7 and lost it. Really big loss at the beginning here, putting me also behind in my favorite way of winning games in the airplay at the beginning. So, yeah. I was kind of struggling. To talk about the rules of the tournament, as I said, Swiss-style format, 6 bands on each side. One side picks which faction it plays, the other side has to play with the other faction, so it's all Axis versus allies this month, and there's a 50-minute time limit, so whoever has more points at 50 minutes wins the game. And other than that, yeah, I think that's the base rules. Obviously standard setup of capture the flag with 750 starting points and normal income tick and so on. Off map here, pretty brutal. I already tried to run away from it, still didn't got it. 172mm, one of the best off maps you can get. Says 3 guns now as my first artillery, trying to hit the PaK 38s, also trying to hit the 50mm mortars over time. PTRS over here. I tried to sneak it around behind the Fallschirmjägers. As you can see, they don't quite see all of the forest, but there's just too many units here around, so didn't work out yet. Meanwhile, down here, Jäger spotted me, so one of my PTRs got ambushed. PTRs over here though, got in position. The PTRs in the north on the way. Panzerjägers coming in for the center. And Cis-3 trying to hit this position more, but Cis-3 not the biggest damage dealers. As you can see, so far, no damage dealt whatsoever. They're a bit better in keeping down enemy artillery though over a long time. And I plan to keep them for counter-batterying against the cheap enemy artillery, and then using my bigger artillery guns, including a Mercer, later on for the big damage. T-60s here got up front, but I knew about the Stuk. I knew about the PaK 38 that sadly didn't get quite killed off by a sniper. Focke-Wulf came in one more time, but I dodged pretty well here, only taking 1 unit's damage. Yak 7s came in too late though to contest it. So yeah, catching Focke-Wulfs would be a tough task in this game, with only Yak 7s and P-39s as fighters. Both solid fighters when it comes to dogfighting. P-39 also solid head-on-head fighter that actually can take on a Focke-Wulf A8 under good circumstances, under good RNG, but obviously not quite the speed to just hunt them down, so that would be a problem. Over here, infantry engagements went pretty well for my opponent, as he used Jäger 50mm mortars as well to bully me out of the town time and again, keeping the 1311 for now. And the first artillery pieces for my opponent coming in as well. Stuk here, blocking down the road. Meanwhile, I now went into some planes myself with an IL-2 to try to bomb this, because there was no AA out yet. I spotted that, and my artillery was not doing a good enough job on dislodging this. Maybe I should have powered the Mercer instead for more long fighting capabilities at this point, but I also kind of wanted to bait out at this point a Focke-Wulf maybe, with my Yak 7 still behind, to maybe try to chase that down, as I invested quite a lot into AA at the start and really wanted to win the air war here already, but that wouldn't be allowed for my opponent. And PTRS in the north didn't have anything to do yet, because there was no engagements over here. Everything was down to the south so far. PTRS over here sadly didn't got this kill, and now got spotted by the Jägers, so it would be hunted down. Oh no, I think it got spotted by the Jäger sharpshooters in a second that went out there to spot them, which was a bit of a shame. 20mm AA in the rear. My snipers got killed by his snipers. Bit painful. IL-2 coming in for another bombing run. Will hit the Panzerjäger. I know the Sturmjäger actually. So, and get the kill there. So good kill there at least. Cis-3 got counter-batteried but not really hit, so they would count the battery themselves. Whilst more T-70s coming in. Yak 7s staying around in the rear. Meanwhile, this sneaky 45mm gets a kill on one of my T-60s. Bit painful, but 1311 for now is manageable. 26 minutes till I'm down. That's enough time to react. So obviously with time limits, every tick that you get in is something that you might have to consider about later in the game. Meanwhile, Sturmjägers coming in the south for my opponent. Sturmjägers, pretty capable units. 4 MP44s, 2 G43s, 1 MG42. So pretty capable on every range. Though for 30 points, not the cheapest unit out there. Not super cost efficient, but bringing a lot of punch, especially if you take them with 2-star veterancy. Obviously, not really what you want to use on 100 meters, but like everything between 100 and 300 meter is their absolute sweet spot, at which range they can shred infantry units with not as much firepower quite easily. In the north, Jaegers got spotted here, so my sniper 52p combo went on to deal with that, stopping it from trying to capture this point. As I, at the meantime, also considered opening up the front in the north, as I realized I'm under pressure in the south. My PTRS would be in positions to cut off any reinforcements, so I wanted him to buy something in the north so that my PTRS could go into use, and also try to capture some flags to get it back to a 12-12 at least, so that I would not be as much under pressure as I am right now. Especially as a 59 is a possibility, and you never want to be kicked down a 59, because that really puts some timer on you to get back into the match. And in an income mirror match, that's especially rough. We put Sachastiki here on the heavy fire by a lot of Sturmjägers, as I said. These are pretty effective. Jäger Scharfschützen from over here also involving themselves into this fight, and not an engagement I should have taken. Should have retreated way earlier. So disengaging here now, as my opponent invested a lot into the south, not as much into the north. PTRS here in a good spot as 2 Jaegers come up for it. P60 channels moving up here in the north. Focke-Wulf stayed around quite a while. I dodged with my snipers. That Focke-Wulf bomber went pretty well. Took 1 damage, but didn't got killed, and that is absolutely worthwhile. The bombing run. The enemy ISU now coming up, trying to deal with the Stuk. P60s in the south. Could maybe flank if the ISU comes up. Meanwhile, Krupat Sachastiki for more fighting in the forest. Enemy has some Sturmjägers, has some Mega Flamethrower, and this would be an intense game, as I get my first plots here for the PTRS. In the south, the enemy found one of my PTRS, but I kept the other one in the rear for a while, and even the first one still got a kill on 1 unit, and now the second one came up to get some more kills. Getting the kill on the Jaeger here, so already paying off more than double. Nebelwerfer coming in as well. Over here. Meanwhile, PTRS over here tried to move forward, tried to get more kills. Nebelwerfer here getting sniped, absolutely worthwhile. PTRS would disengage into the forest as the Stuks came around, so really paying off here. Nebelwerfer and Jaeger killed is obviously a big investment for my enemy that one single PTRS paid off for, so PTRS really efficient here. The other one here being in here now, but Jaegers got unloaded to hunt them down, and I sadly didn't quite get them far enough forward to snipe them still in transport, so I lose this PTRS SWAT. The one in the north though, still active. One in the south, obviously can't compete with Stuks. ISU hitting Jaegers. T60s though getting hunted down by Stuk, and I reacted too slowly, so the Stuk gets both, which is obviously not what you want, but ISU still around, so Stuk has to be careful. Whilst I reinforce into this force slightly, so that there is a bit more of a capable combat group in there. Jaeger getting hit by the ISU. ISU has to be careful as it has a long reload time, so if it fires its HE rounds into Jaeger, the Stuk might be able to come around and profit from it. IL-2's trying to hit that now, but enemy by now has brought in the AA needs. Homer learning his lesson from the first couple of IL-2 runs, so really getting out the numbers now. One IL-2 still got through. No fighter coming in. PTRS turned off its PTRS, so it would still be around. Once more, as you can see, I tried to bait him with the IL-2s. He didn't went for it, which was a bit of a shame. Snipers here hitting my Krupat Sachastiki. ISU trying to move forward to find Stuk. Whilst Jaegers over here engage versus snipers. And more snipers get involved. ISU, I should have turned off the HE there most likely. Make it safer to fight the Stuk. PTRS still around over here. PTRS in the north. Fight the Stuk. He finds them. Uses a Focke-Wulf bomber, but I luckily dodge away further. Stuk 3 still around. Sturmjägers moving in up to here to try to contest my push over here. Get rid of the Stuk. PTRS will escape though. And the Sturmjäger will move on. So the PTRS can move in later to maybe deal more havoc. Whilst PTRS down here is around to deal more damage as well. Mercer finally comes in, so I will have a big artillery piece that can start dislodging units over here. But the enemy has the 59, and this obviously is a crucial point in this game. 59 puts me down on a 10-minute timer, and this will be obviously a lot of pressure on me. I need to at least get one of these flags back, or capture one in the north. Either of these things has to be achieved to get a W over here. PTRS gets another Jaeger kill, so he finally realized it. Doesn't lose the second naval warfare to it. This would have been a big kill, as this is also a 42 instead of a 41 naval warfare. Would have been an absolutely huge kill, but now PTRS got sniffed out. Jaeger's on the way to get the kill, though they get a bit close to the PTRS. So they might actually go down themselves before they can unload. But PTRS misses. And still gets the kill though. So another kill for this PTRS squad. 3 Jaegers and a naval warfare kill. So paying off such a big time. Jaeger mortar here now gets hit as well by the first hit of the Mercer. As you can see, absolutely insane artillery piece. And the enemy doesn't have the artillery to compete with it. So the Mercer will be able to wreak some havoc here. Meanwhile though, the Stuk killed the ISU in a 1v1, and this frustrated me to no end that I lost the ISU in a 1v1 versus Stuk, as the Stuk just went 2 shots and penetrated 2 times. But I just did it a bit too close, so the Stuk had slightly too high chances. I shouldn't have got it that close but I really wanted to get off this 59 and maybe overextended a bit at this point with these units. Meanwhile, enemy lost another unit to the PTRS in the north, so invested into a Jaeger there as well. But quite a lot more Jaegers got called in to finally deal with this one PTRS in the south. So really, this one eating so much attention, so many points of my enemy. Absolutely worthwhile, and really show why PTRS are so much hated in the community by a lot of players. Because if you get them on the right spots, they can wreak such havoc. And they might be overperforming for sure. So some behind the line action sneak is nice, but maybe they should be more expensive or something. Like, there could maybe be some changes to them. Naval warfare here, trying to kill off the puck, doesn't quite do that. Not the most effective Katyusha barrage I could have brought in, I guess. Reducing it to a 1311 though, as I capture the flag up here with the channels, and also retake a flag over here for now. So 15 minutes at least left. That's minute 31. But obviously every tick in combination with the time limit is a tick that I also have to bring onto my enemy later on. So it does matter what happens here right now. Mercer has found a new target, AA piece, so that my air force can be used more freely. But the Focke-Wulf recon plane is used in the north to spot units there as well. PTRS finally gets killed. Naval warfare can move forward. Jaegers can move forward. Mercer does its stuff. Is still hitting the Flak 38 over here with radio accuracy, thanks to the artillerists over here, and gets the hit there. Good kill there. Homer back on a 1410 though, and really the one single goddamn off map at the beginning that got him this position paid off in such big dividends by this point already. My units that were occupied with trying to retake this and trying to retake this with bad grades were just so massive, and it was so annoying. And you can't really play this map differently. Like, pushing super deep down here is tough, and making a big assault in the north is also not really viable. You kind of need to play it around here. And once the enemy has this position, it's just such a tough spot for the left side to come back, which is one of the reasons why I would say the map is slightly tilted to the right for sure. And it's just a map I don't enjoy playing on, really. It has a lot of weird angles and stuff that I just can't deal with. Whilst the Mercer tries to find a new target. Studebaker Snap coming in for the Katyushas. Yak 7's trying to maybe get a kill onto a plane. Not finding it though. And Homer still on the 1410, still having me on a take. But all of this goes on. Sis3 moving in. Artillery hitting the north. Onto the Jaeger MG42. But Sturmjägers moving in over here. Yak 7B flying around. Trying to get the kill onto the fucking wolf, but air micro on Hippie's side is too on Homer's side is too good. Nebelwerfer will try to hit my 25mm. ISU though. Heinz. This 2. Doesn't hit with the first shot. Doesn't have any veterancy, so it is only on 40% accuracy, which is a bit of a problem of the ISU with the rate of fire it has. Second shot connects though, and that obviously is a kill with its penetration power against this dude. And also it's 15 damage, 12 damage per hit, which one-shots any tank out there. So that's what makes the ISU so dangerous. If it connects, it kills you, as it did with the Stormjäger in the Opal Blitz there, but obviously for that it wouldn't have needed an ISU. Still good connection there for me, but more off-map coming in from my opponent, really making my life even more annoying than it already was in the center. Whilst my ISU though finds another kill, taking revenge for the brethren in the south that died without much of a fight. So ISU's starting to pay off now as well. Whilst the Mercer fired a last shot onto this territory as well. Not quite connecting though. Assist 3 trying to counter battery the Nebelwerfer. Mercer maybe a bit underused at this point in the game. Could have maybe shot a bit more. I didn't micro as well, but there was so much going on for micro in the air, up here in the north, and up here in the center, that I just wasn't quite up for it. Should have used it more at this stage of the game though. As you can see, there's a lot of unit clumps that could have been hit hard. Meanwhile though, in the north, I tried to bait out my enemy one more time, and this time the Focke-Wulfs come in for reaction. I have 2 AA pieces down the rear, and I have my 3 fighters, and I have my IL-2s that can react. Enemy not quite able to find the connection here, as my bombing run gets through, gets the Stuk, and now my fighters try to close in. Enemy is still trying to hunt down the IL-2s. I obviously disengage here, as I don't want to fly too deep into the enemy territory. 3 Focke-Wulfs will try to hunt down the IL-2. AA is ready. Next P-39 Cobra is coming in, so that the air fight is a bit more fair if it comes to fighter versus fighter action. But the enemy stays until the IL-2's tail, and is a bit preoccupied with micro elsewhere. So 1 Focke-Wulf falls, IL-2 falls, second Focke-Wulf slow falls, and the third one is already under heavy fire. P-39 coming in for it, and will find the connection, and all 3 fighters of my enemy have fallen. So my fighters now have free reign in the skies, and this was a really important point in the game for me in the air war, as I now would have had not to worry about the enemy super air dominance anymore, no Focke-Wulf strafing my units anymore, so I don't need to focus on keeping my AA network as tight, as I also started to run out of AA units, as you only get 6 of these 25mm in this deck if you take them in A, 9 if you take them in B, and all the other AA options you got are absolutely horrible, so you really need to be on par with your airplay, or play against the bad air division with 358th. I knew that I would be on par with my airplane, so that's why I picked them. Mercer finally getting active again, trying to hit the town, whilst we have a 1311 for Homer, so still 9 minutes for me to be ticked down, and still every tick matters if it goes long, but at least it wasn't close to a 59 anymore. Whilst another off-map though came in here, and snipers trying to hold this off, as more years come in there. BA-10 will help out as well. Mercer firing their first shot onto the Stormjägers, already dealing 2 damage. Really good unit. T-34 is here, dealing with, engaging with Stuk. Not my best micro here for sure. Overall micro in this fight in the forest also not great. A lot of stress damage with the Mercer, but now not really hitting anything in its target anymore. T-34 got a connection with Stuk. Stuk got a connection with my T-34 though. T-34 with the next shot, not finding the kill, will try to disengage, and will make it out for now. Yes, we are back to a 12-12, as the flag in the north has fallen, thanks to some air help. PTRS is still around, will try to sneak into the rear once more. T-39 this time not connecting, Nebelwerfer is still around, but 12-12 felt really good at this point. Would allow me to stay in the game for longer, but obviously I still had to figure out a way to push back here if I wanted to win the game in the long run. First 152mm coming in the north now. I have 2 of these in this deck. and they not quite don't quite have the damage output of the 210mm, but still pack a punch. You don't want to stand into that fire for too long either. But the Mercer now went on to Bed's fire around here. Will try to kill on the off map. Maybe not the most worthwhile target, but there is enough other units around in the vicinity of this off map that might be hit as well, like these Stormjägers. So aim time obviously on the Mercer takes a while. Focke-Wulf Bomber pushing me back over here. I tried to get the 12-12 on this position. Enemy has quite a lot of AT guns. ISU trying to connect onto the pack down here together with the sniper. Yak 7 coming in as well. ISU does connect. Artillery on the nimble fire, but not getting killed. And I tried to push in here once more. 12-12 re-established. But on the thin line, enemy obviously on the way to a 13-11 in the north once more. But my Mercer doesn't really hit anything anymore. Well, or does it? It hits a 50mm mortar, as it already killed the Beobachtungsschwimmwagen. Obviously not the most worthwhile target ever. This 2-gun here will hit the Panzerjäger. Didn't quite connect on the Stuk, as I had it too far in the forest, as I wanted to protect it from being spotted too early on. Then just move in when I needed it, but maybe a bit too late. Meanwhile, as you can see, Mercer is also effective against Stuks. That Stuk obviously got penetrated once already, but Mercer with a direct hit killed it off fully. Mercer overall really effective unit at this part of the game, with a lot of damage onto the center forces here, as they were so clumped, and my enemy didn't have an artillery piece to counter it. Nebelwerfers don't quite have the range. I guess he could have moved it closer, but obviously my Mercer was pretty far in my backyard, so he would have maybe had to risk his Nebelwerfer for it. And he only had more Mercers other than that, so the Mercer, a really good pick for this matchup in this deck. Not always a good pick to bring. If the enemy has cheap counter battery, don't bring it. You can't use it against any deck out there, but in the decks that can't punish it, it's one shot of an off map every yeah, what is that? Every 8 seconds or so. So pretty rapidly you get more than one off map out of this thing, and it costs you obviously, and it doesn't do them as quickly, but over time this thing deals a lot of damage. Like after 4 or 5 minutes of constant fire you already have your off map battery out, and you can get it also more accurate than off map if you want to have the radio. And with the artillerist you also have good recon. That also brings a smoke for 15 points, and you don't really need the artillery tab for much more, so it's quite worthwhile. Meanwhile, Stuk here falls to the SVT and the tank grenade, so I had the armor advantage in this forest again, whilst my Nebelwerfers killed off the flak and brought me back into the airplay here a bit. Yak 7 shouldn't have stayed here though. Flak 20mm is trying to come in. 40mm falls up here though, as my IL-2s come in, but Jägers have a good AA piece here in general with the Flak 43. Yak 7 will make it out. Yak 7 over here will try to hunt down the Focke-Wulf. Not quite able to do so though, and gets shut down by the Focke-Wulf by the bomber. Meanwhile though, Flak 40 went down over here. You can really see the Mercer going ham overall here. Really starting to put a hole in my enemy's center. Obviously paying off more than once by now, as it killed the Pack 40, killed the Stuk, killed some infantry over here. The Beobachtungsschwimmwagen maybe not quite worthwhile the 140 points anymore that you bought it for, as it got rid of its off maps beforehand, or it got killed, but a couple of infantry squads killed as well. Another small AT gun killed over here too. Meanwhile, my 152mm tried to help out over here, but enemy still at a 14-10. We didn't get a flag over here, we didn't got a flag over here, and we still are out in the center. But obviously now we finally are at a point where we got rid of the packs over here that did cut down the road. We got rid of the tanks over here, so we're finally in a position where we can start push onto this point again. Same with the flag over here. Still 2 MGs over here. Another Stuk comes in over here. 13-11 is established, and also a push in the north is possible, at least around here, as we now have the forces here to do so. realized 28 minute, I need to put some points on the board, as I also run out of points myself, and I didn't do anything really to my opponent just yet. Now Perry's trying to deal with the Flak 43. Will be engaged by the Flak 43 itself though, so obviously won't have an easy time here. Get 3 damage in already though, so will make it easier for artillery pieces. Gets it down to 3 hit points only. Have to reload now though. Stalky's disengaging. 13-11 still going on. Mercer silent for a while again. Meanwhile though, the artillery over here does some solid damage. As I said, not quite the same level, lower rate of fire and so on, but also a bit cheaper. BA-10 now engaging onto the Flak. No, T-60 now engaging on the Flak 43 as well. Or actually both of them do. Will be able to kill it off. So less AA in the center, but there's still another Flak 43 over here. There's a Flak 43 over here. And there's still the 20 mil in the south. 13-11 still going on. Whilst my ISU will hit on this 45mm, and it's such a clutch game. 210mm goes down, 12-12 is re-established, but I have 20 minutes only to try to get this game under my control. Krupet Sachistiki get the kill, and I would have to go a bit of a distance to be able to achieve that. And my enemy is starting to play more defensively here. Opel Blitz goes down, Stuk engaging down the road as well onto my Strelky SVTs, so they won't be able to push over here as there's still also overall a lot of forces there. Meanwhile though, channels coming in, T60 bit close to the Stormjägers here obviously. Stormjägers now being hacked onto the T60, but they might be stuck in that building. I'm not quite sure what's going on there. 35mm engaging onto the Wolf A4, not able to fight the kill. P39 coming in for the HS. HS not fully pinned down by the P39 though, so still gets a couple of shots onto the ISU, including a penetration. And the 25mm also not capable of dealing with it just yet. Maxime goes down over here. ISU re-engaging. And P39 actually went down as Flak 43s are just amazing at AA. Mercer not shooting right now. It should absolutely do so. So the 2mm mortars, artillery pieces coming in there. Direct fire ones with some good damage. ISU also engaging now onto the Flak 43. BA-10 trying to help out as well. And I'm finally on the 13-11 here, starting to tick down. Only 90 minutes remaining. So obviously a 13-11 won't cut it. I would need more than that. Mercer here. Not firing. Big issue. Could get a couple of good hits around here. Could get a couple of good hits down in the south. Or maybe even in the far south, as this is troublesome. Flak 43 gets hit. Pak 38 hit by the IL-2s, but AA still around. So being forced back. And really a artillery hit down here could have been pretty nice at this point. We're back to a 13-11 though. Flak 43 not really getting hit by the ISU this time. Stuk gets around. Snipe my BA-10. And it's back to a 12-12. And that's even more troublesome, obviously, than a 13-11 only. Especially if the enemy has the potential to get back to a 13-11 as well. As the Jaegers down here get killed off though. It will get back to a 13-11 for me. But I would need to find a solution to get more than that done. Like over here would be a solution. Maybe I can finally dislodge this fully, but the AA was annoying. Lots of Jaegers. A couple of these Jaegers that hunted on my PTRS minutes ago. Coming in there. Another PTRS in the north. But I wasn't quite able to force the enemy to reinforce the north, so not really being able to pay off from the PTRS at the moment there. And my artillery is too silent. Mercer now doing another engagement. ISU trying to help out. Katyusha getting reloaded, but Studebaker supply truck at this point is emptied out. Whilst on the other side, Nebelwerfer coming in, hitting the channels. And yeah, I will upload more of these, all of these videos over the upcoming weeks when I play them. The next one should be tomorrow. So yeah, if you don't want to miss them, consider following the channel. so that you get notified when I play more of my tournament games and cast more of my tournament games. Well, it's the Katyusha here. It's the Jaegers. Like 43. Gets hit. Super intense game number 1. Really made me enjoy the tournament again. As I also really felt like Homer was a good opponent here. But I was still in the back end here at this moment. And my time is starting to run out. 16 minutes only to get a really basically reverse sweep here. So I knew I would need to do more heavy stuff here. Would need to do some heavy lifting. But Homer was pretty defensive. Mercer engaging up in the north. Hillary trying to hit over here. MG42 hits my stuff up in north. And there's still quite a lot of capable infantry around here. And my baseline infantry obviously not cutting it. Krupetzer though can deal with them. But also really only in CQC. And Starkey DP, Starkey SVT also capable of dealing with them. At least on mid-range. At somewhat same cost. Like both costing 20 points. So pretty on par, but the MG42 and the MP40 is obviously give them really good advantage in really CQC, but mid-range the SVTs give more damage output to the Starkey SVT. So Light Forest, they will win against Jaegers. That's more IL2s try to come in here. As my enemy brought in more planes. But P39 was on the way. Was able to get on. And I got another bomber 15 minutes from the finish line. So it brought back the 12-12. Which was getting really on my nerves here. That I wasn't able to get more points at this stage. Bringing in more artillery gun fire to the north. Also dealing some solid damage there. IL2 though being stopped from dropping its bombs one more. As 2 Flak 43s are really effective AA. If they overlap. A lot of artillery fire onto this, but I didn't have the infantry to back it up. I really traded piss poor over here so far with my infantry. And the Nebelwerfer did a good job in keeping me out of it. Also not a good idea to move my infantry directly into the Nebelwerfer fire. Luckily they got unloaded by stress before they really went in. Would allow my enemy though to go back to a 13-11, making me take even more, if not even right out loose now. As I only have 2 minutes on my clock, and this game got really stressful at this point for me. While it's my opponent chilled back with Flak 43s. PTRS in the north still hasn't found anything, as my opponent still hasn't brought in any reinforcement. 152mm though. Tried to hit the stuff over there. At least forced to unload. Meanwhile, Mercer trying to hit the Flak 43 in the rear. Some solid damage over there. Katyusha trying to reload once more with another supply truck. There's 3 trying to hit over here. 12-12 re-established, but we need more than that. We need way more than that. T26 and T37, T34, 76, trying to go 4 more flags in the north. Stuk still in the way. ISU is around though. Stu trying to hit my staff. ISU will try to engage that in a second. But we still have the southern flag. Mercer around here, hitting the units there. Getting the Eager Pioneers. No, it says 3 got the Eager Pioneers. This one actually tried to hit the Flak 43. Not quite getting that one. So KDP trying to push onto this. Meanwhile, ISU found a Stu. 2 overall deals HE damage. So, but also has a heat shell. But I don't think that does that one. How much range does that one have at the moment? 1,500 meter. So it wasn't. Oh, it actually was in range for it. The side shots would be dangerous. ISU would turn here. Trying to deal with the Stu. Stu coming around again. Stuk over here though. Trying to get for a flank. Stu not getting the shot out just yet. Will get killed off by the ISU. Stuk comes up. But I realized it in time. Disengaged with my ISU. Trying to get the reload done before I engage the Stuk. Meanwhile, Sis 2 gun up over here. Trying to deal with this as I got the forest back, but only still a 12-12. That's all my flags that I was supposed to have from the get-go of the game back under my control, but not more. And more infantry here coming in to try to hold the line. And the Flak 43 really keeping my IL-2s at bay was absolutely annoying. Meanwhile, SS3 coming in over here. And this Mother really should have fired more. Flak 43 goes down. Another Flak 43 is around though. But that one will be hit by my ISU. Allowing for more kills on air. AA. But 11 minutes on the clock now. 11 minutes on the clock and I still would have to trade off all my enemy use units. ISU gets another kill onto a Stuk. They're really paying off at this point. Stu and a Stuk, obviously way more than the one at 65 points. Overall, ISU pretty cost efficient, but you have to use them carefully. They're not an all-rounder. They're really a long-range fighting unit. Wolf coming around. You want to have a T26 or a T34 front guard usually for them. HS1 to 9 here coming in for my ISU. And my AA trying to block it. And Yak 7 also trying to kill it off. But it gets the kill on the ISU before it goes down. And Yak 7B also stopped by the Flak 43 once more. Didn't get killed off by the ISU. Artillery trying to come in. Yak 7 getting out. HS really resilient plane here. Not getting killed off by 25mm, even though it flew through it for a long while. That's my IL-2 trying to come in once more. Mercer hitting the Flak 43. More infantry as well. Whilst my 152mm is silent, and it shouldn't have been at this point. It should have fired on this, as I have an artillerist over here. It could have helped me out getting the 1311 here at least a bit faster. But by now, with only 9.5 minutes, I need an 18.6 ASAP to get this game under control. As even a 59 is not enough. My enemy's frontline though is starting to grumble. So there is options for that. Canos have to be careful in south though, to not get overrun, to not lose me the flag. Jaeger's still in the rear, trying to find PTRS. Still no investment into the far north. So my PTRS there was still not occupied. Whilst I brought in T26s to try to get these flags over here. As I now realized in how much dire straits I was. Also, biggest mistake in my deck building. Like, yeah. This is such a noob mistake. And I knew about it, but I still have... by now have changed my 358, but it took me such a long while to finally fix that issue on this 12 KDP coming in the good old SIS-42. Yeah, and slow transports obviously hurt even more at this point when you need to capture the front line fast. So I went over to not buying Strelke DPs, but rather other infantry squadrons that actually could help me out. Strelke SVT here, finding the Jaeger MG. To be able to deal with that and get me the flag. 1311 happening. Getting the kill there. Getting the connect. Stormjäger though trying to move up. Pack 38 and Pack 40 coming around to stop my T26s. Infantry over here also stopped. 152mm now trying to hit the north. Trying to give me some flags over there. Moors over here. Already did such a good job, but could have done more. Bit silent at the moment. And it's only a 1311 with 8 minutes on the clock. So I really needed to completely break my opponent at this point. And I mean, there was not that much left at this point. Black 43 in the north. 20mm in the south. But I also didn't have that much right now on the front line, so I would need some amazing plays to actually turn this around. And some pretty big mistakes on my enemy sides to maybe make it. PTRS, running a lot of units into PTRS, for example, would help out. But no reinforcements currently in the north still. And only 7 minutes remaining now, with only 1311 for me to show now. So basically 21 to 3 was the way I aimed for now in the last couple of minutes. Just completely overwhelmed the whole front line. If I would be able to achieve that, I would be able to tick down the enemy quite quick, as that speeds up the tick by an immense amount. Sturmjägers got killed off by the P39. Whilst the Kupaczachistikis here would move in. Strelke DPs trying to move in onto this flag over here. But more units came in for the south as well. Stuck coming in here as well. Channels sadly getting killed off in the north. But more Krupacachistiki were called in to finally capture this flag. Flag 38 coming in as well for my enemy. T34 trying to move deeper into the south, capture these flags. 1311 once more re-established by this flag, but only 6 minutes remaining now. And I really wished for Steel Division League rules right now with a 55 minute, because that would make my job not easy, but quite a lot easier. Have 5 minutes more to get the full victory here. Trollmakers under fire, 6 minutes remaining, and still a 1311, so I am in trouble now. Mercer's still not firing. Should have tried to find this fire solution somewhere. HS129 once more coming in. ASU not able to get out of line of sight. Gets killed off. Meanwhile, Nebelwerfer coming in over here, hitting some Strelkies. Duke coming in, trying to prevent me from getting in here. Nebelwerfer not hitting pretty well, but not amazingly. But my Krupacachistiki is now trying to smoke, but the Duke can't find these units. Should have maybe moved up this 2 a bit earlier. But my Krupacachistiki finally made it in. E34 coming in over here. Jaegers being pushed back. Velki SVT coming in as well. Saperi moving forward. Whilst Jak 7 tried to strafe down anything, because really there's no use for fighters and I needed anything I could get. But now only I got up to 59. We have only 5 minutes remaining, and as you can see, I need more than that. And I also need more than 18.6 at this point. So I really needed the 21.3. And I tried everything, you know, to really get there. As you can see, sending in a lot of deep units. Sadly, enemy still didn't invest into units in the north. This PTRS that I so sneaked behind the enemy line with so much effort hasn't fired a single shot yet, which felt quite annoying. Lots more and more Maxims came running in. The other T-34 is trying to find some kills. Stux though, finding the kill from the north onto the BA-10. Sniper trying to come in as well. Well, this one tried to run away. 59 once more recreated, but my Strelka DPs got stopped here, and that was basically the death sentence. If I could have maybe broken through the center, obviously would have got me to the 86 already. Then a 21-3 could have maybe been viable, but at this point I knew this wouldn't go well. So I said GG at this point somewhere, told him that I was basically done for, and I just would play on to the 50-minute mark. Well, it's trying my best, because it wasn't just not doable here. But I did a pretty solid comeback. Obviously, if this game would have been without time limit, I could have just used my air spam from this point out, sitting a bit back more defensively, but luckily that isn't the case. You can't just abuse the endless reload of air spam here in this combat mode. But also meant that the early game advantage of my opponent paid big dividend. That one big off-map of Homer was absolutely horrendous. My PTRS tried the best to get me back in here, but Homer, really a tough opponent in this first game. And good bans. Banned the divisions of my tier list, as I gave my tier list to Hobo Tango for a video, and Homer watched that video, so he banned all my top allied divisions that I had on there. Luckily, not all of those divisions are divisions that I actually want to play, but some of them I would have liked to play for sure, and he maybe wouldn't have banned otherwise. But 358 was a division I had on my potential pick list, and I don't think it was a super horrible division. I just think I took a lot of horrible infantry fights in the center, maybe focused the center wrongly as well, and I got the worst side. He really got into the amazing position here with a good play with the off-map, and from there on out I was running behind for too long in this game, for a really long while, and just for too long to really come back here. As you can see, I try my best. 11 minutes, but only 1 minute 20 to go, so even with a 24-0, I don't think it would be good enough. I think you get an auto win at that point, but only after 1 minute or so. So even then I would need to reach in 30 minutes. So really well played here by Homer in game number 1. Playing the 28th Jaeger to its strength. Whilst I tried my best here with the 358th. The fighters I got rid of. I'm still proud of my baiting and my solid air micro throughout the game, though obviously without having to rebuy the fighter in the beginning, I could have maybe done more around here. It was not super perfect, but overall still pretty good. Still one of my most like biggest advantages in most matchups, my air micro. Once more here as well, but the overall game plan was better on my opponent's side, and he went in here with a really solid plan, and so I ended losing this, as I wasn't able to overcome 28 Jaeger amount of forces fast enough. And I really just took a lot of bad infantry fights over here, whilst the naval weapons also kept me busy all the time here. As you can see, a lot of artillery holes here. Also, Morse could have fired more relentlessly. With that help, I could have done more as well. Jaeger goes down, Pack 40 up in the north. B39 trying to get behind the Fokker Wolf. But that was the last second, and at least got the kill in the end. KD was positive in the end by quite a number, but obviously a lot of this in artillery and air. So in the end, frontline unit-wise, we were somewhat equal, I would say. With a slight advantage to me. But it didn't allow me to push fast enough. So Homer got the W. I had to surrender at the 50-minute mark. And in game number 2, I would have to find another solution for this problem. I would get the counter pick, and we will have an amazing map for game number 2. So have your eyes open for that game coming out tomorrow, as game number 2 was a really good one as well. Homer, absolutely lovely opponent, really nice guy also to chat with, and happy to have him in the community. But felt a bit painful to lose here. Especially 2.5 map start. But I obviously took revenge with PTRS. PTRS here killing Stormjägers. PTRS killing Jäger Flamethrower, and especially the PTRS killing 3 Jägers and a Naval Werfer. Already paid off all the PTRS on its own, and the other PTRS tried to help out big time as well. And then my other MVP of this game is the Mercer. 150 points, killing off 2 Stooks, 2 AA pieces, 1 MG, 2 Mercers, and 2 AT guns, and 1 infantry squadron, 2 infantry squadrons. So really paying off big time here. Good game plan of that one. The ISUs later on also paid off. The first one though sadly didn't, and I really would have needed it to pay off at that point. So it was a bit annoying that it didn't. But my opponent also got some solid kills here, especially the Naval Werfers really kept me out of this town. I also could have microed way better against that maybe, but I was preoccupied with other things. Jaeger Pioneers and so on in the forest also well used. I had a really couple of bad engagements. Like my plays maybe looked flashier in this game, but the basic infantry micro of my opponent was just a level above me in this one. And I realized that, so I will try to focus more on infantry fights in game number 2, which you will see tomorrow. So keep your eyes open if I can win game number 2, or if Homer will take the 2-0 victory against me in week 1. And yep, if you liked the channel, the video, keep a like, and maybe if you have any feedback to my play, to my opponent's play, leave it down below. And see you all in the next one. Bye bye.